So, here's the other Monster AU for you guys to chew on, and this is a Gravity Falls Frankenstein AU. Now, this one is very much like very much follows the beats of Frankenstein, but there's very vastly different. There's some differences in here. So let's get started. So this story takes place right at right in early 18th century, 1900s, and Dipper and Mabel, who are both scientists and also, rich members of Gravity Falls. They return home to Gravity Falls after being kicked out of Oregon University for some medical experiments that weren't going right. They were dissecting animals and stitching them together horribly, and also stealing parts and entire bodies of cadavers for the medical wing. So they were kicked out by their great uncle Ford and their colleague Professor McGucket, even though he thought it was interesting, but the board was kind of against them on it. So Dipper and Mabel are both Victor Frankenstein in this story. However, Mabel is very much. Both of them, actually, I should say for background, their parents both died at a very young age due to plague. They were both killed by typhoid fever, and they left everything to the Pines to their children, who the Pines family in here are very well-esteemed members of the Gravity Falls community. They're right up there with the Northwests and the Gleefuls as well. So those are the three. The Gleefuls, Pines, and Northwests are all the major families of Gravity Falls. And when they died, when Dipper and Mabel were left orphan at 12 years old, their great uncle came in. Their great uncle Stan, of course, came in to watch over them and watch over the estate while they grew up and studied. But after their parents' death, they became obsessed with conquering life over death, and were also pretty angry at God for being like, you took our parents who did nothing wrong, and you left us alone. So we're gonna get back at you by making our own man. So in here, after being kicked out, they continue their studies. Now, Mabel is very much like the Colin Clive Universal Monsters Dr. Frankenstein, who in here, she's very much like, I want to prove that a woman can be there are women of science, and I want to prove that a woman can can conquer life as well, She also is very much like, look, I want to study this so no one else has to, deal with the pain and loss that my brother and I felt. Dipper, on the other hand, is more like the Peter Cushing Hammer Victor Frankenstein, where he has the same ideals and wants to, prove that science can defeat, religion and what have you. But he's also very conniving and will do whatever it takes to get what he wants. So the two are very different, and it kind of both diverge through the rest of the story. Seuss is in here as he's kind of like the Igor in a way. He's an assistant. He was a handyman for the Pines family, but then it began to help them steal bodies and help them rebuild this new body. So, you also have Professor McGucket. He, unfortunately, when he goes to see the project, Dipper's looking for a brain, and if you've seen Curse of Frankenstein, then it doesn't exactly turn out well for Professor McGucket. Gideon also has a similar fate in that when he finds out about the monster project, he attempts to blackmail and get money from Dipper to be like, oh, if you don't tell me, I'll tell everyone that you and your sister are the grave robbers. And Dipper's like, you probably think that's funny. Yeah, you're laughing pretty hard. That probably means you got a strong set of lungs. So Dipper takes his lungs. Also, then we have Pacifica, who in here is Mabel's secret lover, and also secretly funds the research, even though she is kept in the dark of it. All she knows is that it's an important work to Mabel and her brother. But she's like, look, if I help you fund this will mean it will get done faster, and we can be together. But, of course, Mabel and Pacifica are realists in here, because it's the 1900s, and they're both lesbians. And it's not going to turn out well. Now, you're probably wondering, what about the monster? Who is the monster in this story? Well, Dipper and Mabel sat down and thought about what they were going to do. If God can create man, and in the Bible it says that man then, God then created woman from man, wouldn't it make sense if man created woman next? You see where I'm going with this? That's right, ladies and gentlemen, Wendy is the monster. Wendy is the monster. And in here, she and Dipper were, the Corduroys were once servants to the Pines family. They were Dan Corduroy was the groundskeeper for the Pines estate. But what happened was, their family fell under, there was this huge blizzard that swept through Oregon, and the Corduroys all died from the blizzard, from the cold. And Dipper and Wendy were both lovers, and he mourned her death, but her body was so well preserved from the cold that they kept the body, and Dipper swore that she would live again, almost like Mr. Freeze. But however, as they went on, they saw that the rot from the cold was starting to eat away at her body, so hence why they kept needing to replace all of her organs and her body parts. And Dipper eventually said, like, I can make her better. I can make her so much better. So when they bring her to life, and of course, they use Fiddleford McGucket's brain to replace her other brain. And of course, Mabel, when she found out what happened, smashed it and, shall we say, made it abnormal. Kudos if you got that reference. But yeah, of course, Wendy saw what the monster she was made into and went on a fucking rampage. Of course, Ford and Stan were investigating what was going on. The monster goes on a rampage, kills some people, and Dipper and Mabel not only try to recapture it with both their great uncles, but of course Dipper wants to save Wendy because he's like, no, I don't want to lose her again. I can't afford to lose her. And she is a wonder of science. She is proof that man can defeat God. He's gone full Peter Cushing. He has gone full Peter Cushing at this point. And Mabel's like, no, we made a horrible mistake. We should have never attempted this. So the story does end much like in the original Frankenstein movie, in that in this Frankenstein movie, in this Frankenstein story, I should say, the mob corner Wendy, and as do the Pines twins, and Dipper and Mabel fight over, if the monster lives or dies. The fire's coming in. Mabel manages to escape. She tries to save her brother, but he refuses to leave Wendy's side, and the building burns. So that's how the story ends for that AU. So like I said, it very much follows the beats of Frankenstein, but I wanted to add a few fun twists and turns as well. So you guys tell me in the comments below, what do you guys think of this story? Did you guys like it, hate it? Just comment below, let me know. Yeah, this was a lot of fun to do. I thought it'd be just kind of fun to talk about this, so yeah. Anyway, once again, hope you all enjoyed this, and I will see you guys later.